Namaste, you're on the Nation at 5 and we join you with news coming through on the mega conversion racket as many more folds come unraveled. The Uttar Pradesh Anti-Terrorism Squad, or the ATS, today has arrested one more person in connection with the illegal religious conversions of this entire conversion racket. Sarfaraz Ali Zafri. Sarfaraz Ali Zafri has been arrested. He's the 15th arrest. He was arrested from the Amroha district. ATS has said that Sarfaraz was working with Kaleem Siddiqui, the Maulana who's earlier been arrested already, and was involved in illegal religious conversion practices since 2016. Sarfaraz, like I said, is the 15th arrest as more and more skeletons come tumbling out. He's the latest one who's been nabbed. Now let's try and understand the entire dynamics of this conversion racket and how the probe is thickening. Now, raids at Kaleem Siddiqui's properties revealed major foul play. It was a huge organized racket that was going on. Evidence of 30 crore funding of Maulana's Jamiyat Imam Waliullah Trust. And where this money comes from, that's where the questions are. The funds from the trust were sent to many states. The probe is on to which all states and for what all purposes, but largely with the intent of inducement, luring, ensnaring people into conversion. UPATS probing other accounts, trusts, finances, and also members of Kaleem's family. Maulana and the son have been used conversion funding for also their own personal gain. So the money that was being sent to try and not just propagate, but also try and get more people, ensnare and induce more people into the religion has also now been changed. The property purchase in Noida, Meerut, Delhi and also in Muzaffarnagar. There are many builders who are also under the lens of the UPATS because ill-gotten money, ill-used, rediverted also for with another nefarious design. A probe has been initiated into WhatsApp activities in the conversion racket also. Plenty of dimensions that are coming through. Were these builders involved in building or making madrasas or mosques or other establishments which were then run as a front for running this entire conversion racket? That's the big question. Pathikrit Pine is also with us, and we also have Sumit Peer with us this evening. Pathikrit, this is a big nexus which is unraveling week after week. Since June this has been going on, and week after week we are seeing how organized and established this entire racket has been.
Yes, Anand, and I must congratulate CNN News 18 and especially you for taking up this issue very seriously and actually telling to the country at large that we are facing a hydra-headed war. And this is one dimension of war which for a long period of time people and the country, the governments were not taking seriously. Remember, the secular fabric of India can never remain intact if conversion of this proportion continue unabated. And I'm sure it has been going on for decades, which has been ignored by successive governments, especially at the state level. Secondly, we need to understand there is a sinister agenda of the conversion agents and their masterminds to demographically overwhelm India, because demography is democracy. Democracy is destiny for India. And if we continue to allow it to happen the way it is happening without bringing in any kind of major law, then we will only face something disastrous in the next few decades. Let's also understand that these people don't need to do terrorism. They'll do something else. We know what happened in Kashmir 3 decades back. Sumit Peer is here. He has been one of the victims. So once the demography alters, and you remember one thing, you know, the same people who are doing the conversion are the same people who actually support illegal infiltration, who give legal support to the illegal infiltrators, and also the same people would advocate population growth, high population growth, advocate against family planning against certain communities. So even, you know, people across the country, across religions, most of us aspire to do something good for the country, aspire to have our own careers, aspire to achieve something for the society. Some of these people, for them, the whole agenda and objective is how many people they have converted, and you know, they actually get money for it. So the money trail, the hawala trail, you know, it cannot be simply tracked through the conventional banking procedures. It is something which is as sinister or perhaps more sinister than simple terrorism, I would say. So let us understand, unless we have something concrete in terms of a law, in terms of an anti-conversion law. In a secular country, Anand, we have discussed before, I as a Hindu who studied in a convent school, Christian missionary school, and have very high respect for Imam Hussein or Buddha, Lord Buddha or Jesus Christ. For me, I have nothing. I don't need to convert to Christianity to have respect for Jesus Christ, even though I am a very firm believer and follower of Shiva and Krishna. So this is what secularism ideally should be. One doesn't need to convert, and those who are converting have a sinister agenda which has nothing to do with secularism, which has nothing to do with India. It's something else, and we need to understand this is how Pakistan got completely overwhelmed.
But Pathikrit, history is rife with examples where agenda or a particular religion or a theology has been spread by the dint of the sword or by converting others. So most of the neo-religions have evolved like that. That is how it has happened, and the history is rife with that. But today, the larger grey area, Sumit Peer, I will come to Jammu and Kashmir in just a bit, or even when we looked at the Kashmir Hindu exodus in 1990, it was about saying, it was about non-acceptance. It was about misya or hatred, where when a certain group became larger than the core group or the original inhabitants of that region, you said that we want you out. Either you accept our ways or you get out. So this is the exclusive nature. But when it comes to conversion, Article 25 in our constitution allows us the freedom to propagate our religion. How do you differentiate? It is like match fixing. You know something is going wrong, but it's very difficult to prove in a court of law.
I think, Anandji, the point here is when you have seen money coming in for conversion, the money has come from foreign countries, and there was a name, Bahrain and Middle East and all. Why are they interested in sending money to this Molvi here? It is very simple. It's a sinister design. I think people like ISI, people from China, and the people who are anti-India and anti-Hindu are involved here. These conversions are done to create those pockets of resistance, to create those pockets of disturbance. These conversion rackets, people were being converted in the name of jobs, in the name of dawai. Dawai is you convert to Islam and you will your all ailments will be cured. And in the process, these mullahs and mullanas make a lot of money. You right now told Maulana Saab has a lot of property, so has his son. Now the question is, who is sending the money? Why is he sending the money? Why is he interested in the business of conversion? Because that is what they want to do. In Kashmir, they have failed. Elsewhere, they have failed. Now they want to prop up those pockets wherein their will and their fancies will work. Anand, if I can be very candid on your show, we know there's a concept like Ghazwa-in. Things like that still exist. Those theocratic concepts still exist. And some people believe by doing these demographic changes by paying money and getting these agents involved, they can bring in the change. But the point here is, what is their relation with ISI? What is their relation with the Chinese Communist Party? Who is paying them crores and crores of rupees? What are they going to get? Who are paying them the money? Obviously, they have agendas, they have motives. What are those motives? These people are in the business of conversion. And there's one more revelation which I came to know, Anand, that this Maulana Saab has a house in Shaheen Bagh, F18 Shaheen Bagh. Now, this possibly explains where was the Shaheen Bagh money coming from, because Maulana Saab to khud hi Shaheen Bagh mein rehte hain. So problem to kuch thi nahi. When we were saying that time, you remember I was coming to your show and I was stuck for 3 hours and Jamia Nagar flyover. Then we were told, oh, it's an organic protest, nothing is coming, no foreigners are involved, money is not coming from anywhere, people are contributing. Now, say Maulana Saab lives in Shaheen Bagh and in a Shaheen Bagh residence, and of his money was found. That answers the question.
No, not just that. When you picked up Shaheen Bagh, then the other linkage, the Hydra, you said no, multi-headed Hydra or multi-tentacled Hydra, which you talked about, Pathikrit Pain, is the fact that the Rohingya link also comes out, that a lot of people who are present in Shaheen Bagh were seen to be Rohingyas. And now we've also seen an excess where Rohingyas are getting fake Aadhaar cards made, then they're spending 3.5 years in the country, they are being taught Urdu, and then they are traveling to different parts of the country for we don't know what kind of agenda, because they are not forthcoming with what their agenda is. We also broke that story here at News 18. So again, all these connect somewhere. So how deep does the rot run?
Absolutely, Anand. The rot is very deep. Let's understand those who actually still believe in the theocratic concept of Ghazwa-in, they know that they cannot militarily defeat India. So they are doing it in a different manner, very surreptitiously. And let me tell you, as I said, those who are doing the conversion are the same people who are ardent supporter of the infiltrators, first for doing the conversion, the demographic shift, and also for doing the dirty work. Remember that the Rohingyas are the most radicalized entities in the world. Even the Bangladeshis are concerned about them. They are actually being thrown out into an island because in a Cox's Bazar they have completely overwhelmed the local Bangladeshis, and the local Bangladeshis are fed up of the Rohingyas, given the way, the kind of crimes they do and the kind of population growth they have. That's one part of it. Secondly, you actually broke that story about one Rohingya being caught who was in Deoband. Look, Deoband itself is the founding father ideologically of Taliban. So we can understand what he was doing in Deoband. And these floating entities, because for them, they can do anything, desperately anything, if they are allowed to stay in India. So they said, you do this thing and we will protect you. So they will do all kind of work. Somebody going from Delhi to Imphal for some kind of treatment, is it a plausible cause to actually believe? The problem is we are still not realizing that these floating soldiers are kind of a terror organization, and they can actually play the disguise. They have a plausible deniability on the face of it, and they do sinister work surreptitiously. We need to understand the next generation of war need not be terrorism where an Ajmal Kasab will come with an AK-47. They can simply demographically overwhelm us. That is what the agenda of the conversion agencies, and Rohingyas are desperate. They don't care about anything.
And some of these elements